the poo candy ass.
I didn't think I was going to do another candy ass video today, but circumstances prompted. Today, we have the police officers from the United States Capitol Police who are awarded the Congressional Gold Medals, the highest honor from Congress, for their actions in protecting the U.S. Capitol and all those inside of it during the January 6th attack that Donald Trump pushed. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this and why I'm making a candy ass video about it is because two of the main people responsible for Donald Trump pushing the riot, pushing the attack, were there, and they were snubbed by their families. Those two people are obviously two of Donald Trump's butt boys. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell and House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. Before we get into the situation why I'm talking about this, let's do some time traveling, shall we? Now, I don't have to go into everything that Money Mitch McConnell has done. He's done nothing for the state of Kentucky. He's done nothing for his country, but get rich off of it. He's even let this country be destroyed for the sake of Donald Trump. And Donald Trump calling his wife, who happens to be of Asian descent, his wife, a negative, I won't even say it, but it was a racist word by Donald Trump. And McConnell says nothing. Just lets it happen. Because he's more worried about pissing off the Donald Trump base rather than standing up for his own wife and his country. And the same can be said about the House Minority Leader McCarthy. After the January 6th attack, McCarthy said that Donald Trump should be held responsible for it. Unfortunately, all of it changed the next day after McCarthy went to Mar-a-Lago. Lord knows what they talked about, but we can only guess is this. Trump said, say nice things about me, do not put me in the middle of all this, and I'll give you, and I'll make sure everyone endorses, and I'll endorse you. Hell, I may even consider you as a vice president if I run in 2024. That's probably how that conversation went. These two people are the very, 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 very big examples as to why this country has fallen. Now, the fact is, these two people, and right now, before we get into the ceremony at the Capitol with the Capitol police officers, these two people have barely said next to nothing after the last few days, after we found out and after we heard from Donald Trump himself on Truth Social that he wants to end the Constitution in order to stay and to regain power. Now on that, I have something to say about that again in my previous videos, but I'm going to go even deeper than that in the next video. But here's what I'm trying to say on this. They have said nothing about it. When pressed by the media, they try to walk it back. They try to say he didn't mean it that way. It's impossible. He can't do that. But the fact that he said it, and the fact that the Republican Party, the biggest purveyors of the Constitution, the people who want all of us in this country to see the United States Constitution as holy writ, say nothing about a former chief executive who swore an oath to support and defend the Constitution. They say nothing when he threatens to end it, just to stay in power. But let's get to the point, to the meat of all this, why I'm talking about this now. As I said earlier, the U.S. Capitol Police officers and their families that were given the Congressional Gold Medal But unfortunately, not all of them were there to receive it. Officer Brian Signick, who died of a stroke afterwards, after the attack, was not there. His family was. This should have been done almost a year ago. But unfortunately, because of the Republicans, like Moscow Mitch McConnell and that harebrained fuzzball, Kevin McCarthy, stopped it from happening because they didn't like the wording of the citation that followed that award, calling what happened on January 6th an insurrection when it was an insurrection. They didn't like it. One of the chief purveyors of that is merging Taylor Green, and don't worry, bitch, I'm coming after you next. Now, obviously, Nancy Pelosi, in one of her final congressional duties, was there, but in a most humiliating fashion, McConnell and McCarthy were there as well. Now, obviously, they handed out the medals, and Officer Brian Sisnick's family refused to shake their hands. They passed them by. Here's the video of it. They just passed them by. Now, honestly, for me personally, and quite honestly, this is me talking, I can't tell you exactly what I wish I could do because I would get probably flagged or whatever on YouTube. But let's just say I would spit in their faces and leave it at that and go even further than that. Now, before I go on a tirade, I figure I would give the opportunity to give someone a chance to speak. A man who probably hasn't gotten a chance to speak about this. What you're about to see is an interview with Ken Sisnick that day during the ceremony, well, actually after the ceremony, explaining why he did not shake the hands of McConnell and McCarthy. This is what he had to say.
Self-explanatory, but, they came out right away and condemned what happened on January 6th, and whatever hold that Trump has on them, they've backstepped, they've danced, they won't admit to wrongdoing, not necessarily them themselves, but of Trump, of the rioters. I mean, people like Louis Gohmert, who presented an American flag that was flown over the Capitol to a January 6th rioter and told them they were a patriot. It's disgusting. And it takes away everything my brother's done. It takes away the heroism my brother showed.
You don't think they deserved a handshake in this context?
No, definitely not. No, because unlike Liz Cheney, they have no idea what integrity is. They can't stand up for what's right and wrong. With them it's party first. Liz gave up her political career to do what was right and try to find the truth. She's the one ray of hope, her and the whole committee, that they can show integrity, that they can show they actually care about the process, about democracy, about everything that goes on. And these guys are, as long as it's got a big R in front of it, we're going to do whatever you do.
First, before I go on, thank you, Ken, for those words and your son's service to his country. And I agree with everything that he said, 100%. The fact is, I'm going to even go even further than what Ken said here. The fact is, for the last 6 years, you have done everything to bend over backwards or just bend over for Donald Trump. You know he was wrong. You knew he was wrong at many a times, and you didn't do anything to stop him. Nothing. Except some mean-mouth platitudes about, yeah, he's wrong, he shouldn't talk that way. You did nothing. In democracy, our constitutional republic is in tatters because of you. Because of your cowardice or your greed. You had every opportunity. You had two opportunities to put an end to this. His first impeachment, where all the evidence was pointing at them, but you had to just go party before country and let him go. The second impeachment, when you know goddamn well he was responsible for January 6th, you did nothing. You let him off the hook. You did nothing. And as far as I'm concerned, you deserve to be in prison for that dereliction of duty. Frankly, honestly, you're whores for Donald Trump. I use that word a lot when describing Republicans who bow down to Trump, but that describes you perfectly. You're whores for this guy. You're whores for him. The fact of the matter is this. Personally, I would spit in your faces if I were walking across that stage, and I would go to prison, and I'd probably end up in federal jail, and I would do it with a smile on my fucking face. You two are scumbags. You've done nothing for this country. You've done everything to hurt this country. For what? For Trump? This bastard doesn't give a damn about you. He does not care. And if it serves him up, to serve you guys up as a sacrificial lambs, they will do that. If it serves them to throw you off the plane, throw you off the boat while it's sinking, and not give you a life jacket, he will do that. You need to understand that this man does not care about you. He didn't care about you when he was screaming for his supporters on January 6th to storm the Capitol. In his particular words, you have to fight like hell or you're not going to have a country anymore. He didn't care about you. You had every right and every way to indict this son of a bitch, to burn him from office again, and possibly even put the son of a bitch in prison. And you didn't do it. Why? Because you wanted, there's nothing more than greed. You think to yourself, if I help Donald Trump, he'll help me. He'll help me stay in office. Hell, he may even give me a bigger office. Hell, he might endorse me when I run for president someday. He does not care. And the final indignity, 2 days ago, Donald Trump called for the termination of the United States Constitution. You said nothing, except some mean-mouth bullshit that no, he can't do it. No. That is another opportunity you had to end Donald Trump, to end him. But instead, what did you do? You stay silent. You say nothing. You see, what sickens me about you Republicans, all of you Republicans, is that you want to scream Constitution or no country. This son of a bitch tried to threaten to end the Constitution just so he can get into office. You say nothing. And frankly, the two of you bastards shouldn't even have been in that ceremony. Because you are part of the goddamn problem that let what happened on January 6th happen. And you know what the sad part about this is? You don't care. You don't care. Well, to me, honestly, McCarthy and McConnell, that shows nothing more than cowardice. No. That shows treason. And yeah, I can call you a candy ass, but there are a few more names I like to call you. Traitors. Anti-constitutionalists. Fools. You might as well be flying the Confederate flag right now. McConnell, you probably are when you go back to Kentucky. Fact is this, gentlemen. You know what? I'm going to say it. I don't give a fuck how it makes me sound. I would have smacked you in the fucking mouths if I were on that stage. You have no business being in that Capitol. No business being in that ceremony. Because you two are the very reason it happened, because you did not stop Trump when you had the chance. And you know what the sad part about it is? It's going to happen. Number January 6th style situation is going to happen again. Yeah, we locked up a few pawns here or there. Stuart Rhodes, that one-eyed bastard, and the oath keepers. He's going to jail for perhaps a good portion of his life. But when you are going to start holding the leaders responsible? When are we going to start? When are you, Kevin McCarthy, going to look at Marjorie Taylor Greene and say, shut the fuck up, you dumb bitch. You are making us look bad. You're not going to do it because you're afraid about how your base is going to look. And that's all you care about, your base. When are you, Mitch McConnell, going to stand up to Trump and tell him, shut the fuck up, you idiotic bastard. You're making us look bad. Go home, go back to Florida, and live the rest of your miserable life. You're not going to do it, McConnell, because you're too much of a fucking coward to. You are too much of a fucking coward to stand up to that bastard. In my view, you shouldn't be anywhere near the goddamn Capitol. Ever again. But you know what? Since you are, we're gonna make your lives a living hell. A few videos ago, I called for people to start putting the feet to the fire of every Republican in Congress, in Senate, state, and federal. You too are on the top of that list, right above Mary Jean Taylor Greene, excuse me. You want to preach us the Constitution? McConnell, you want to go on Twitter and say, we're going to reread every word of the Constitution? You had every chance to stand up for the Constitution a few days ago, you son of a bitch, and you didn't. Which makes you, Kevin McCarthy, and especially you, Mitch McConnell, you both are nothing more than
A Rudy Poo Candy ass.
Sorry if I got a little angry on this video. I detest hypocrisy, and it's making me sick. CTP, know the truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.